Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis, and unless something has changed in the future, we are now advertising free. I took that thing down, and what's funny is I let it ride a little bit, because I was like, well, I don't know. It went past the dollar mark, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just get to $1.25. And I finally pulled the plug at $1.27. And then when I went to like the little wallet thing to take the dollar, it was like, and the processing fee is 25 cents. So it was good. I let it ride because otherwise it would not have actually been the full dollar. Anyway, advertising is temporarily, probably for quite some time, over. Unless I suddenly see a real boost in numbers and there's actually a shot of it making any money at all. We will happily live here together in an advertising-free universe. Which is both good and bad. Good in the sense that we can be advertising-free, bad in the sense that I still don't make any money on this business. So, today's episode is inspired by a brief interaction I had in my neighborhood, and sort of ballooned out into a whole kind of neighborhood analysis. But it's also about manners, so keep listening if that's interesting to you. It's also about giraffes. It's not really about giraffes, but they do get a mention. So here it is. I'm going to read it to you. It is called The One Who Says Thank You. At my local bagel shop the other day, the cashier said to me, "Oh, I thought I recognized you. You're the nice one." This may be the saddest thing I have ever heard. Like, sure, I'm nice, but I definitely don't want to be the nice one. I want to be among the nice ones. Ones. Plural. Then she went on, "Yeah, you say thank you and all of that?" What? What is happening, people? Are you not saying thank you to the people who serve you? What the hell is wrong with people? I mean, listen, I'm happy to be memorable because of my bright smile and my charming sense of humor. If you remember me for my magnetic personality, that is A-OK. I am delightful and I am glad when people notice. But to remember me because I'm the only person who says thank you, that is not okay. You know, all of y'all have to do better. Does saying thank you come naturally to me? Sure. I could not grow up in the South without knowing how to say please and thank you. They'd take away my birth certificate if I didn't. But even in this mad New York world, people gotta say thank you too. Most people do, actually. You have to, you guys. I have concerns about my neighbors now. Who is coming here and not being polite? A few days later, I was back at the spot and witnessed a woman quietly saying, "Thank you so much," twice. So I know I'm not literally the only one saying thank you. But I have concerns. And they are not disconnected to the car count I did the other day. Lately, I've been noticing a lot of out-of-state plates and fancy cars parked on my street. There was a Jaguar parked in front of my laundromat the other day, and there seems to be an endless supply of BMWs. So I counted them. In the block leading to my building, I counted 8 BMWs and 4 Mercedes. Now, to qualify, some of my best friends drive BMWs, literally. 1 or 2 BMWs on my block would not have even caught my attention. It's like one giraffe in the neighborhood would be pretty cool. We'd all be like, "Wow, have you seen the giraffe?" And feed it from our second-story apartments. A pair of giraffes might be kind of sweet. But 12 giraffes? That starts to be a herd. And we start to have some trouble. A street full of fancy cars is like a herd of giraffes showing up in the neighborhood. I have concerns. Look, there have been some studies related to fancy cars and the tendency to be a jerk. You can read about it in Scientific American, of all places. And of course, I'm not talking about you, my BMW driving friends. You're like that first giraffe, and maybe even the second. The study points out that while fancy car drivers tended to be the jerkiest, only half of those in the study were really jerky. But I suppose, given the established correlation between fancy cars and bad behavior, it might be possible that there are a lot more rude folks buying bagels in the neighborhood. The gentrification of my neighborhood is escalating, and it is having some weird effects. There are a lot of metaphorical giraffes, and I am now the nice one who says thank you. Please say thank you when you buy stuff. It's not hard. You can drive a fancy car and still be nice. I do not want to be the only nice one. Thank you in advance. Yeah, so that's my connect up between being called the nice one and fancy cars. And weirdly enough, I looked this up. I've heard about this study since whenever it came out, but I looked it up. I was thinking about that study about the cars, and then just today I was listening to This American Life, their podcast. And in the most recent episode, there's a whole section on exactly that study, which is so funny. I was like, oh, I guess it's news again. But it's actually a cool little segment of a section about NBA referees. But they went into this place of looking at the fancy car study in Berkeley. So if you want to hear them talk about that study, I would listen to that episode. Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the episode is, but it's about fairness. And, hot tip. I can't remember, this is not going to be such a hot tip since I can't remember what it's called, but there's now a search engine for podcasts. I will look it up and maybe put it in the little notes because it's great. Like this is what happens to me. I don't know if this happens to you, since I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm guessing if you listen to this podcast, you're probably someone who listens to a lot of podcasts also. But like I'll be having a conversation with someone and I'll be like, oh my God, I just heard about that very same thing in some podcast I was listening to. Which one was it? And I'm like, I want to send you the episode, but I can't even remember which of the many podcasts it was where they were talking about this. I mean, it happens really much more often than I would like to admit. So there's now this thing where if you don't Google it, you search in whatever the search engine's called. I think it's called like Pod Search or something. And then it'll find like the topic area or whatever. So as long as it's in the sort of notes on the episode, it'll find it. So I tried it out with like something I knew would lead to this podcast, and it totally worked. That's really wild. So I will put that in the little show notes so you can find it. You can use it if you need. If you're like me and often go searching for which podcast in the world it might have been where you heard about that thing, that's for you. So today the song. So I was looking for a thank you song, obviously. And I was going to do Natalie Merchant's Kind and Generous. It was the first song that occurred to me. But you know what? I started like working on it and I was like, I don't want to. I don't know why. I just had this kind of, I was in a mood when this happened. So maybe it just like did not sit right with me at the time, but I completely abandoned that project and, went with my second choice, which is an Alanis Morissette thank you song. But I also, in my frustration with trying to learn Natalie Merchant's song, I Not that it was hard to learn. It was super not, but it was just like it just wasn't, yeah, it was getting to me. So I searched for songs about manners, and of course it leads to like children's songs. Of course, right? But that's where I was like, right, this is basic stuff. So in that process, I discovered something called the Manners Song, which is sung to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I'm going to sing it to you right now because it is adorable. It goes, we say thank you, we say please, we don't interrupt or tease, we don't argue, we don't fuss. Listen when folks talk to us, share our toys and take our turn. Manners are easy to learn. I mean, right? Sweet. So, yeah, I will now give you Alanis Morissette's Thank You. This is a song that I feel like I have veered like radically. Like sometimes I hate it and sometimes I really like it. And sometimes I feel like there's like sections of it that just really get to me. I don't know. It's a funny song. It's not on Jagged Little Pill, so it's not as super popular as any song on that album would be. I think it was her second album. I'm not sure. And it was mostly popular for her being naked in the video, as I recall. So, thank you, patriarchy. I don't actually want to thank the patriarchy. That's an ironic thank you. Right. So, support me on Patreon if you feel like you can. Patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. Or you can send me something on PayPal or Ko-fi. Just search for my name in either of those two places. And join my mailing list on my website, EmilyRainbowDavis.com. My Twitter is at @ERainbowD. You know, like it, like on the Facebook. That's helpful too. And also, 5 stars on iTunes, apparently, very helpful. Reviews there. According to what I can see, and maybe it's a mystery, but it says there are not enough reviews to show any reviews. So I think that means there aren't any. So if you feel like putting one there, that would be awesome. Yeah, so, okay, here is Alanis Morissette. Thank you. How about getting off these antibiotics? How about stopping eating when I'm full up? How about them transparent dangling carrots? How about that ever elusive kudo? Thank you, India. Thank you, terror. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, consequence. Thank you, silence. How about me not blaming you for everything? How about me enjoying the moment for once? How about how good it feels to finally forgive you? How about grieving it all one at a time? Thank you, India. Thank you, terror. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, consequence. Thank you, silence. The moment I let go of it was the moment I got more than I could handle. The moment I jumped off of it was the moment I touched down. How about no longer being masochistic? How about remembering your divinity? How about unabashedly bawling your eyes out? How about not equating death with stopping? Thank you, India. Thank you, Providence. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, nothingness. Thank you, clarity. Thank you, silence.